No sleep till Brooklyn. Come on. I keep forgetting this is the shortened one. So, hello and welcome to the Chef Salty Pork Podcast with your hosts Casey and Sean. We are your weekly views for culinary news, insights, tech musings, and everything in between.
You can also catch us recording and streaming on YouTube at Chef Salty Pork Podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe to get up-to-date notifications of when we are broadcasting live, like right now.
Word, we are freshly live on a Thursday, Sean. Can I open with this really quickly? So we as you know, there's this meme coin called the Dogecoin, right?
Yes.
I don't know if we're gonna cover this. I don't know if you have it on your Tech Tuesday. Do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna get in our topic this week. But,
okay, so I want to get into the topic. However, I opened up my phone earlier, Sean. So, to my surprise, but before I do that, if you were to invest $1,000 into Dogecoin January 1st this year, where it was like 0.004 or whatever, right? If you traded it yesterday at its peak, homie, it shot up to 18 cents. So if you held on to it all that time till yesterday,
$1,000 would be what?
$34,000.
It's ridiculous, man.
So check it out. So now if you held on for one more day, today, Sean, today, I'm looking at it live right now. It peaked at 26 cents. So your $1,000 could have potentially gotten up to $47,000 or $50,000 today.
This is ridiculous. I mean, I know we've spoken about these mined currencies before, but Dogecoin of all of them is the most ridiculous because it's literally based on a meme.
Nothing.
Like it's a joke that's literally gone too far and is making millionaires overnight.
But is it that same was it I think I heard it on the Batman series. You either not kill all the bad guys, but you either get rid of all the bad guys or live long enough to become one kind of thing. Do you think that's what Dogecoin is going to be?
I think so. I mean,
right?
Yes, it's like, I know that you can, manipulate your funds and, it can grow and then turn into something else. But I will believe it when I can go up to a vending machine and pay
and
for
trade it for Dogecoin
with some Dogecoin. Like at that point, it's really real.
I mean, it's a quarter right now, Sean. Like it's a quarter. Like, so I traded. The reason I brought it up, I thought my eyes were bugging with me. Now I bought it last year at $89. I traded it when it boomed first. So my $89 turned to $1,400, which is stupid.
Yeah, which is again is ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's bananas. I then put, was it maybe a month later, I put $700 in, just let it sit, whatever. I grossed out no matter what. Anyway, I made the money.
Sure.
I opened the app yesterday. I'm like, what do you mean I'm up another $3,000? I don't understand what's going on. No, I couldn't process it fast enough, and it sharp peaked down, and I was trading it. So I only managed to make $1,600 yesterday. Just because nonchalant yesterday.
No,
whatever.
Just cool. Light work. Just light
it's whatever. Work. It's
on a currency based on a terrible joke. Like
just
it's
whatever.
Why it's so wild. It's so wild. I mean, again, man, I'm happy for you. Making the good flip. Obviously, but it is ridiculous that
it is ridiculous.
This has gone as far as it has. It's going to be really interesting to see where it all goes, man, and how people trying to make the most that they can, in this period of peaked interest,
Yeah.
for,
I,
and seeing like how that affects all of these other facets of the world, man.
so like my question for you then is, are you going pro crypto, or are you still holding back? And if you are, cool. If you're not, why? That's my main question to you today.
I mean, I guess the answer is I was in, and now I'm out. I, what gets me is just like it's still all of this is still based upon nothing. Like,
Well,
I mean,
it's
I
all
mean,
nothing to begin with.
the gains are real, right? I mean,
Yeah, the gains are
you
real.
put in your tangible funds and pull out tangible funds. I'm happy, but
I just don't get it
it's just
either.
crazy. Like it's just crazy.
I do not get it. I don't understand, but I'm happy to be in the makings of some cash. So it's
Yeah,
it's
man.
really nice. But other than that, Sean, I just wanted to say, um, what you call it, Mother's Day is upon us. That's what I wanted to say. And I was kind of bugging out for a second because I was looking at my calendar, and I'm like, it's really like 6 weeks away. Like
Yeah, man.
I don't have a menu yet, Sean, and it's
Oh.
6 weeks away. So, in my brain, like
Mm-hmm.
just straight up like half panicked ever so slightly. Like I don't know. And then our GM goes, "Oh, FYI, Mother's Day." She brought it up, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" I was literally thinking about it. She brings it up, even more panic. She goes, "By the way, 3 seatings, about 250 people, in like span of 4 hours, buffet style.
Okay, so not 750 total, but 250 total.
250 total, yes.
Okay,
250
okay,
total.
all right. You're rotating it
So it's not
thrice.
like
Okay.
our seating in our restaurant where we could was it we average what, like 500-600 on that day, like the entire day pretty much, and you guys would do even more than we would, but
Yeah.
this is a separate, because we can only max out 100 in the big space that we have per seating per, I don't know, an hour and a half or so we're gonna spread that out. But yeah, so that is the that's my mini heart attack for this coming week. But how are you doing? Besides there's a whole slew of news coming in again. I don't understand what's going on. I thought there's some things that kind of we already washed it out, but it's now coming back in. I don't understand what's happening. People need to just chill. I think it's just the pandemic that's just hitting everybody into their crazy.
I mean,
I don't get
I
it,
wish it was just the pandemic.
but it's not. I
I
know.
wish things could be explained away just like that, but nah, it's not that. It's not that at all. I mean, it really isn't, man. I feel like we say this so often. Like there is an opportunity to be living a lot easier with each other than we do, man.
Yeah, I definitely
And
do.
there are definitely some serious flaws in the system, man. It just sucks. Like it sucks. It
Yeah.
sucks. Like every week, I feel like it's Groundhog's Day, man. I just
Yeah, it's just like another. What are we doing this
you look
week?
in the news, you open your phone, or you log into the internet, and then you're just like hashtag so and so's name, and then you just
Yeah,
read about the tragedy. Read about the tragedy,
it's unfortunate.
and you see the hand wringing, and see the people protesting, see the mothers crying, and we just back, as a country, we're
Yeah.
just back at it again, man. Back at it again, and it sucks. It sucks. Like I don't know how much more this has to happen for people to change their minds and reevaluate their processes. But change, it just has to come, man. Like again, it's
Yeah.
just it's so tiring. It's so tiring, and as black guy in America with you know a blackly black family and a
Mm,
a black daughter coming up behind me. I I sometimes it's just I'm at a lost for words, man.
I mean,
You know,
I couldn't even
you just
relate. Like that's I don't
yeah,
know. It
and
drive me mad.
it's just crazy. I mean, like I said, personally, my daughter, she's 2.5, and every moment she gets more and more aware. We go outside and go to the store, and she sees a police car, she sees a fire truck, she sees an ambulance, and like you know, um, you try to explain how these functions of society are supposed to work for you. And then she watches her little cartoons like Paw Patrol or whatever, and they
Uh,
they try to reinforce these fundamentals as well, right? Like, oh, there's a police dog and he blah blah blah. There's a fire truck dog and he's got a ladder, and there's a construction dog, and there's a dog that has a plane. Um, I don't know why like this fictional town requires that like 1 6-year-old and his like
uh,
kennel of dogs has to solve all their problems, but
um,
nonetheless they stand in as avatars of functions of society, where people
mm,
take on jobs to hopefully help and protect everyone else. That's how it's
yeah,
supposed to work, right, man? And again, it's just disheartening to see that it's not working, and when it doesn't work, you know um, people die.
yeah.
And these things, it's like they don't get resolved. Sometimes people are held accountable, more often than not they're not.
Hmm.
Checks get cut, but those checks get cut from us. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah,
I don't just it sucks to see that it just keeps on happening and happening and happening again.
I think it will be just a lifelong battle, but hopefully towards the
I hope
end,
not, man. Like, that's the thing
you
is like
know,
I hope not. Like, I hope that this is not a lifelong battle.
mm,
I mean, look, I got 450 years of information that tells me that this is gonna be a lifelong battle, but
mm,
I hope that it's not.
yeah,
I really do. But I
and
don't
that's
know,
what we
man. I mean, I don't know if this is like the segue into like what we're gonna talk about, but dude,
well,
like,
there's lots
what
of
do you like?
histories.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what do you do to cope? When you have like a stressful day or a long day. I mean, I know what I do, but what do you do?
There's three things I usually do. If oh, perfect example. So yesterday, Sean, we had a party of 170, right? And
Okay.
so to prepare for it, obviously it was prepped out in about 2 days work, but that means that Nikki and myself were there. What was it? I just want to say maybe Monday, 10 hours, Tuesday, 8 hours, and then Wednesday we were both there at 7, all the way till 11:30, pretty much, right? Because we had to get the stuff done. Oh, and also Carl was there, so we
Hey, Big
the
Carl.
homie Carl, big Carl is
Love
on
to
our
love you.
team.
Love to
Yeah,
love you,
yeah, yeah.
Carl.
The homie's in there, so we working it out. But that high amount of volume is stress. To kind of cope with it, it's the is I call it the when you get so tired you get slap happy, sort of,
Oh
right?
yeah, boy, do I.
Like it. So that's one of them. That's the
Yeah.
most common, at least for me. Second would be to create something or make something with my hands, which I'm already doing in the high volume stress area of the cooking, right?
Sure.
So that kind of like eases into his way, so I'm fine with it. But the most important for me though is when I get home, I make sure Caitlin can sleep. So Caitlin has a little thing where she doesn't really necessarily get sleep so much, and I worry about it. I don't know why. I just do. I always do. I make sure she gets
Sure.
sleep. I don't care for me really, because I will sleep no matter what. I I get very few days that I don't physically sleep, but I will always I have great sleep, but she doesn't, and I worry about it. So for me to cope with that, I will also ask her like, "Hey, how you sleep? How did you sleep?" And I'm like really, what's that word I'm trying to say? Like I'm not crazy about it, but I want to make sure that I pay a lot of attention so she can get to sleep on that day. But
Is there something that you do? I mean, aside from like ask her about how she's sleeping. Are there things that like you specifically do for her? I mean, I don't know if they're like too too intimate or too private that you don't want to share with the class, but
so
I don't know.
If the bestest part out of all of this.
Okay.
Right? So yesterday she was also tired. I come home and she's like this. Asleep. That literally just took all my stress and all my tiredness away. Just that little bit, and I'm like, yes, she's asleep. So I it's not really physically something that needs to be done. It's just I want to make sure that
she's gotten sleep. Okay.
If she gets that, my brain can just relax altogether. Okay. It's a weird.
I definitely understand that. Like, obviously, my wife here, my daughter here. Like, yeah, the easiest sleep is when like everyone is like knocked out on time.
Correct.
Like, yeah, if someone is buzzing, you're just not gonna be. You're not gonna sleep easy. I think your instinct to protect and is gonna kick in. So I can understand that.
Yeah, that's at least for my coping things. And then if you're at work, we talk about tech or anything other besides that. The cool thing right now with our team is the other exec is Filipino, so I get to converse with him in Tagalog, which I haven't done in so long.
That's cool.
And it takes my brain to a different place. So that in itself makes me relearn what I've already had in my brain. But the bad thing is when the other staff comes in, like the Spanish speaking folks.
Right.
My brain now gets confused trying to talk to them in Spanish, but it's getting replaced with Tagalog and English at the same time. I'm sorry, just my brain gets a little jumbled, so I don't know how to reply to you. I used to be so good at it. That's what I was thinking in my brain, and then I kind of relearn again. So it's a nice learning thing. It keeps my brain sharp, which is yeah. But yeah, man, not too crazy at work. But to segue into our stuff, so in terms of history, right? These two items, tea or coffee, it just depends where. I guess I don't know your personal preference, or it's mostly I want to say regional. Right, so if we're talking about the Greater Asia or Greater West, or when I say West, East rather, there's more tea than anything. Like it's bananas. Coffee is more of a Western thing here in the States. However, Sean, should we do rock paper scissors? Which one should go first?
Nah. Let me go first.
Oh, you want to go? Okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, I just want to kind of lead with that segue that I put down. So
heck yeah.
Because it is super, super, super important to me. Yeah. Personally, I am a tea drinker. Like I love it. Like some people need a good cup of coffee to start their day. They need that jolt of caffeine. Like for me, I need a nice hot cup of tea to get my brain flowing. Like I really, really love it. I mean, I've been drinking it since my parents were able to trust me with a hot cup of water. Obviously, like this transcends cultures, but like the practice of making tea like really centers me, and it's silly, right? Well, I mean, maybe it's not silly, but it's just how it works for me. Like my wife will say, like, I'll come in the house and almost, especially back when I was working, like I would like come in, give her a hug, give her a kiss, and then like move over to the kitchen.
So you can make
turn on the tea kettle, and then like kind of start the process of unwinding. And in the morning, again, that's what starts my day. I get out of bed, take a look around the house, make sure everything is is settled and right. Hop back in the kitchen, turn on that tea kettle, even just a tick, 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 tick of the gas, like ignition,
Yeah.
it just kind of starts the process. The water
Yeah.
boils. I set my tea bag, in the cup with 2 spoonfuls of sugar. And
All right.
then,
We're a sugar
even then,
person. Okay.
yeah, sugar person for sure. I mean, sometimes honey, depending on the tea, but more often than not, sugar. And, even in that time, between when, I put down the kettle and the kettle boils over, it's a point of time just to like kind of reflect and think about like whatever immediate tasks are ahead of me and whatever else I have planned for the day. And then, like I said, on at the end of the day, um, I look forward to that cup of tea again to kind of like reset, think about everything that, I was able to do and accomplish or maybe not accomplish, settle down, take that hot water you and just
Yeah.
kind of
It calms you down. It has a calming
calm you
effect.
down, right? It's a calming
It really does.
effect. And then, it kind of sets the mood right for me. So, definitely through these trying times, man, I have had more cups of
Of tea.
tea than I've had other times. But dude, like tea has always been there, as a staple of my life, man. I could think of some tough conversations, I've had to have with a cup of tea in
Yeah.
hand. I could think of, great meals, that I've had with my friends and family, with a cup of tea. I could think of, man, going outside and playing basketball with some friends and then running to the store and getting an iced tea.
Yeah,
Or
man.
when I got my first car, hitting up, even just hitting up a McDonald's, just randomly to get a sweet tea in the middle of the day.
Get a
Like,
sweet tea. Yeah.
it's part of the process for me, man. I am a tea dude. I'm a tea dude. Um, I mean, I guess I could talk about some of the history of tea, unless you want to kind of talk about what how coffee works for you.
Well, the coffee thing. So it's I've been trying to not really surmise, but so I want to say that I lived 2 lives, right?
Okay.
Because if we break it down, my first 12 years are from a different country in the Philippines, and when I was younger there, my grandma's the only one that drank tea. The rest of the house drank coffee. So
Right.
it just depended, right? However, I drank both, but most commonly it's a thing in the Philippines where you take coffee breaks in the sun, like just blaring out, and you drink coffee black though. That's like that's
Okay.
like the thing. Not until I moved here that I fell back in love into the tea that my grandma used to make, because I've always, it's like a really sweet aroma. She doesn't really necessarily add any sweetener, but just a tad bit of honey. But it depends on the tea leaves that she's using.
Okay.
So it took me a bit, but I found out that it's oolong and pu'er tea that she's been drinking all that time. So now that's pretty much in my cupboard all together. And then, obviously moving here in '97, I've now outlived my first life here in the States.
Sure.
So that's why I technically have 2 lives, just kind of that experience. But in coffee per se, my fondest memory is playing basketball and then having a coffee break. As like a
man.
4-year-old, I don't understand it. I don't know. Everybody did it. We just had, we played basketball and then we'd have coffee. Yeah. And then over here, obviously, it's like a different thing. You don't just play basketball and have tea or coffee afterwards. But I guess
Right.
it depends who you are. But, I never really found that thing over here. But yeah, man, that at least for my experience, I tend to go on both. However, I do not drink coffee anymore. It's too much for my blood. I get way too jittery. I feel like my heart's gonna pop out. Like if I had Red Bull, like I had Caitlin's like a little bit of Red Bull. No, bro. Felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. It was just so. I felt so wound up, and that's just straight caffeine. It's almost like you had like 2 cups of coffee, and I was like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just never done it for me. Like I mean, I've had a good cup of coffee, The last decent cup of coffee I had was I went to go visit Paulo at his house, and he made us like little shots of espresso, and they were
Ooh.
delicious, delicious,
Yeah.
delicious. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I was happy to share that experience with him. But man, tea for me. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of some of my earliest rather memories with tea. I definitely remember getting ready for like elementary school,
Yeah.
and back then I used to take my tea with milk, and
Yeah.
that was definitely part of the process, man. Like waiting for it to like cool down just enough, adding my milk, watching it change colors, stirring it up. I mean, I even remember the teacups that my mom and my grandma had. I remember they were like these like white porcelain cups, and they had like a little floral pattern, but
Yeah.
they were like it was like a brown stencil around the rim. You
You have the
know?
old Chinas, bro. My
Yeah, yeah.
grandmother too. Yeah.
So it's just a good time, man. And I mean, definitely. Even now, like I'll appreciate, you go to someone's house. I mean, it hasn't happened because of the pandemic and all.
Because
But yeah, they're just like, hey
pandemic.
man, you want a coffee? I'm like, nah, I got a tea. And I'm always
Yeah,
curious to
some
see
tea.
like,
Yeah, yeah. What they have?
what their tea game is like. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
man, I can rock it out with some Lipton, but I'm always curious to see like, you know, what someone else has in their cupboard, ready to go.
Now, even I was just about to say that's very English of you to add some milk into your tea. I've
Yeah,
done
I
that
don't,
before too, and
yeah, I
and
don't
I
do it
love it.
now. I don't do it now.
Yeah, it's like it just I guess depends on your palate at that time. But now you went to school in Boston, ish,
Yeah.
right? Like, and you still didn't transform into one of the
No,
Boston
and
people.
see, and that was the thing. Like again, like living in Boston. For those who don't know, like it is a coffee town, man.
Yeah, man,
It
that's like
is
all they talk about.
Dunkin' Donuts, like on every corner facing each other. In the supermarkets, in the drive-throughs, like everywhere has a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
They obviously they have Starbucks too, but like Dunkin' Donuts might as well replace their tap water in Boston. It has like so much of a cultural impact and influence, and I mean, obviously you find yourself in a Dunkin' Donuts, but typically if I were to go, I would probably get like a hot chocolate, instead of
Instead of the
a
Dunkies.
tea, because despite the fact that I like a nice cup of like hot tea, I don't know, like I don't feel the same connection to it when it's presented to me in like a styrofoam cup and it's like, hey man, here's your tea and go. Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not that's not what I'm looking to the experience, or at least to get from the experience. Like I really want to like take this time and enjoy it. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, if you're like working in your office, or even when we were in a restaurant, when there was a time again to like take a second, at the end of the
You make
night when we're
tea.
like putting in orders or something,
Yeah.
or earlier in the morning when you're coming in and checking your emails and such, and there's time for that cup of tea to kind of focus, look at your task and you try to accomplish them, or reflect on what you did. Again, that's what I'm looking to when it comes to having a cup of tea.
Now, can I show you a statistic here, Sean? This is pretty insane. I did not know
Sure.
this. So I'm gonna bring it up into the screen. So check this out. So what you're seeing right now is a visual representation of what Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks look like.
Okay. Wow.
And this is a map of the U.S. that we're looking at. So specifically, like I mentioned to Sean, Boston, right? Dude, look at this.
Yeah.
It's
Yep. All of it. All
just
of it. And
pink.
I feel like again, like I feel like that still does not represent how much. Like it should be a contiguous pink blob.
Yeah, it just should be so dense right
What
here.
is if you don't mind me asking, what is the orange? Like I'm assuming the green is the Starbucks. What
Yeah,
is
so
the
the Starbucks are right
orange
here. So
represent? Is that
the
like Tim
orange are
Hortons?
from our Canadian
Timmy
people, the Tim
Hortons.
Hortons.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah, Tim
sense.
Hortons
That
up
makes
top.
sense.
And then, but
Good.
yeah, like it's interesting. You kind of go to the west, but like it ends right here. So
Yeah.
none really in the greater Midwest, but like mostly scattered and focused more in the Cali side. But look, if you think about it, by like the Michigan, like almost like eastern like Texas ish, like that's a big blob of green
I
too.
think if you another way to look at that map is to kind of look at like urban density. Because I'm looking
You know what?
just
That's
looking at
right.
like looking it's like definitely all the cities are
Mm-hmm.
gonna have you know deeper penetration for those particular coffee brands. I mean, I'm sure, like, if you would get into those more rural areas, like, people are consuming this stuff at home, or maybe there's some, like, more local mom and pop establishments that kind of, you know, provide those goods there. But definitely, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can see, like, it is West Coast, East Coast,
Yeah, and
the
that's it pretty much.
Panhandle, and then when you look in them, you know, like you can see that's definitely like Austin and Houston,
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Chicago. Like you know, when you're looking toward the interior of the
Just
country.
cities, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I found that interesting. I was like looking and I was like, what exact? Because in terms of here in the U.S., like obviously it's Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
However, the statistic that I read and I got from Wiki was there's over what was it? Starbucks has a bigger impression with more than 30,000 stores worldwide against Dunkin's, and it's mostly here in the U.S. 11,000 stores specifically. So it, let's just say Starbucks is winning on the aesthetic purposes because you know you're there for a feels because it's like a different kind of thing.
For sure.
There's a barista.
I
You know what I'm saying?
mean,
Like
right. Someone's gonna write your name on a cup.
yeah, making your stuff for you. Like there's a you know the better the barista, the better I guess the beverage. But Dunkies has it down to a science where now it almost gets dispensed on like the bev things,
Sure.
like the beer dispensers.
Like a tap. Yeah.
That's like a tap, yeah. And I was just like, wow. So it's an amazing kind of feat, and I totally understand what you mean by the tea thing when you're brewing it yourself. Have you ever experienced an actual tea ceremony though?
I have not, but I definitely want to. I definitely want to. I definitely want to see an East Asian tea ceremony, and if I were a single unattached guy, I definitely would make my way to South America and check out some of those uh, tea ceremonies as well. Man, get flap happy in the jungle, and you know see some shapes and
Gotcha.
colors.
Now I know how to do the Chinese tea ceremony. That I'm versed with. I do not know how to do the Japanese tea ceremony, and that's mostly with matcha, where you know
Right.
they're like they stir it, they froth it. It's like a whole thing. But those are the two that I know of well. Obviously, there's different ones altogether for it. But I'm interested. Where did actually tea come from? What did you find?
All right. So, according to my little bit of research, and I'm going to read directly. So, according to Chinese legend, the history of tea began in 2737 BCE when
Wow.
the Emperor Shen Nong, a skilled ruler and scientist, accidentally discovered tea. While boiling water in the garden, a leaf from an overhanging wild tree drifted into his pot. The
Wow.
emperor enjoyed drinking the infused water so much that he was compelled to research the plant further. Legend has
Wow.
it that the emperor discovered tea's medicinal properties during his research. And then there's also another legend. So the Indian history of tea attributes its discovery to Prince Bodhidharma, an Indian saint who founded the Zen school of Buddhism. In the year 520, he left India to preach Buddhism in China. To prove some Zen principles, he vowed to meditate for 9 years without sleep. So Casey, he would have
What?
needed you. He would have needed you to check in on him. 9 years. It's said that toward the end of his meditation, he fell asleep. Upon awaking, he was so
died
distraught.
Probably.
Yeah,
He's still
that
alive.
he cut off his eyelids and threw them to the ground. And then legend has it that a tea plant sprung up on the spot to sanctify his sacrifice. That is
got it.
wild.
Wow. Okay. You know what? Maybe that's why the Indian teas are so. It's just so fragrant. They have the most fragrant.
Shout out to that Darjeeling.
Like the South Asians and specifically the Indian teas and like the Thai teas, they have like a different floral like note altogether, man. Like I'm telling you, it's just way different from like the Chinese stuff because if you think about it, it's like China's pretty broad, and I like the pu'er tea, which usually typically is like more north, so it's a little harder, like harsher weather, and it's like a golden-ish red tea. And it's just slightly minty, slightly floral, compared to the oolong, which everybody is kind of that's like the most common.
Yeah, I literally had some a few hours ago.
Yeah.
I just ran out. I just used my last bag, so I'm like, oh man. And I was at the store. I should have bought some.
Wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, man. You have
250. You said BCE?
Yeah. Wow. 2737.
2737.
BCE.
Good grief. Now, the only one that I could find of, now, granted, I'm literally citing Wiki and all their sites on there, but the history of coffee dates back to 850 CE and possibly earlier, with a number of reports and legends surrounding its first use. Now, it specifically originated in the kingdom of Sheba, which was in Ethiopia and Yemen. So we're talking Middle East. This is like where coffee was kind of born. Now, if people are actually not aware of it, I kind of knew what coffee looked like, but I didn't know the raw state of how the pods look like. So I'm just gonna bring it up real quick. Sean, did you know it looked like how do I explain this? Like what did this look like to you?
They look like currants or berries.
Right, like I thought it was like cherry tomatoes for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Kind of. But I was aware of the green pellets, but I didn't realize.
I would not. If you showed me that picture in a lineup, I would not identify it as coffee at all. At all.
Like I knew the bean, like the green ones, like out of its branch, pretty much. I've never seen this kind of a thing till I looked it up. I was like, oh, that is interesting. Now, again, love learning this stuff. But the word coffee entered the English language in 1582, so 15th century, and from via the Dutch koffie. I think that's how they pronounce it because it's coffee, Koffie. And then, a whole bunch of other things. But the one that I want to get into, though, Sean, did you know, and I know tea does this too, all teas are decaffeinated and kind of fermented to get to their color. I know that for a fact. Coffee as well goes through 4 processes that gets them into the coffee. So 2 solvent bases where you add a chemical to it.
Okay.
Or 2 non-solvent, which you do natural, like water or air purified, pretty much. So what they're trying to do is take the green bean to slightly roast it and pull the caffeine out, or rather, not to like decaffeinate it fully, but just enough so it doesn't take the taste off of it.
Okay.
So it just depends what kind of I didn't look up who uses what kind of method, blah blah blah, but I was just like, wow, it goes through like a crazy process altogether. But the one that I want to kind of get into, the U.S. us specifically here ranks 25th in coffee consumption.
Really? See that kind of
isn't that crazy?
That blows my mind. 25th, it blows my mind because of how much people go out of their way to have it, and it seems like every establishment that serves food is gonna has coffee.
Yeah. Do you know? Can you guess who the first country is?
Nah, man, like not whatsoever. Because I would have thought it would have been the United States with a bullet. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the U.S. pulls at 4.2 kilograms, which is just about 10 pounds. Finland ranks first at almost 13 kilos per person of coffee a year. That's a lot, bro. That's like they're drinking it as water, pretty much, on the daily.
I'd be curious to see, like, are they literally having more cups of it, or are they having it brewed in different ways? Like, is the custom to have a stronger cup of coffee there? So just by volume, they're using more in a given cup.
I guess it's more for volume per se, because they're talking kilos. It's not necessarily by liquid. They didn't tell us what kind of volume it is. It just says coffee consumed. So it could be just by brewing the beans or something else entirely, but I'm assuming by consumption of the physical liquid into your body. But that's a lot of
it's like
coffee.
Tiramisu, like sneaky. Like,
it's just like a cream.
Right. Like you walk into a room and someone just shoves a slice right in your mouth. They're like, "Nah, we got to keep this coffee consumption up."
I don't know. I've never been. I don't want to be a coffee person because there's so much for my system. Like I just feel overwhelmed. Like if you took like what's a good one? Like a spring and you just keep loading it, and then at like the very end, it's just like really tight, it's about to burst. That's how I feel like on my heart. Kind of just I'm gonna explode. And then if I like go up the stairs, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can definitely say I have not had enough coffee to specifically notice a reaction like that.
Now, tea wise though, what other teas do you drink? Now you did mention oolong.
Yeah. Wow. Irish breakfast tea. I like the black and orange teas. Darjeeling. But I would say on like oolong is my favorite. So
yeah,
that is my go-to.
Nice. Have you? I want to suggest one tea to you.
Okay, bless me.
Golden Monkey.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me
look it up. I believe you can buy it off of Amazon. So it's a different.
I'm not gonna open up a link right now, but
I think that's like a
Golden Monkey to myself.
You can get it on Amazon, and I think it's a specifically in China, and it's like a not a highland, but like it's more like middle China where they brew this stuff, and it has like they call it Golden Monkey because it looked like fine hairs from like a blonde monkey, like that's what it looks like. The tea leaves after it brews.
Am I gonna turn Super Saiyan
to Super Saiyan? Yes, you're gonna turn Super Saiyan too when you get into it. But the aroma by itself will take your breath away. You're like, wow, this is tea, and it's so clear and it's crisp. That's one of my favorites here at the house.
Golden Monkey. You
Golden
heard it
Monkey
here
tea
first.
There's a Chinese actual name for it. I don't specifically remember, but
subscribe
it's Golden
to our
Monkey.
Patreon for my immediate reactions.
For the Golden Monkey. Another one is pu'er tea, but how do you spell it? Pureeh. Pu'er tea. That's another like an off cousin of the oolong. Not necessarily subtle. That one has a bit of more of a grit to it. The reason why I like tea so much is because of the bitter notes. Now, coffee is also bitter, but it's more sour.
Okay.
Like if you just straight up drink coffee, it's like a lot of sour going into that. But coffee, however, it's mostly a lot more sweet and a lot more bitter to the taste, and a mix of that. So it's not so much sour, and it's more pleasant for me. But I also think that it's good for me. So, did you get into the research where like how many antioxidants it is per cup or something like that?
No, but
man, I would love to. I would love to know because coffee is just horrible for you. Just don't drink coffee. It's bad for you. I also read whereas it depends where it gets brewed or it gets factory made, but most typically you would be drinking like what's it called, like insect, not droppings, but like their eggs and shit, because they can't clean it properly, which is disgusting.
Let's see. Here's a quick Google to answer your question. So, black teas are fully oxidized. Green teas made from mature leaves that aren't oxidized. White teas made in the same way to green, except they're younger leaves. And oolong goes through a very short period of fermentation. Yeah, so black teas for your antioxidant needs. Thank you, little
Thank you,
sister,
Google.
big sister Google.
Google is the way to go. But yeah, man. So there's a whole slew of just kind of history and just kind of going back and just checking it all out,
Yeah,
all
man.
together.
I mean,
But like,
man, teas,
what is
the drink of the unofficial official drink of the American Revolution, right?
Yeah, no, it really is.
People are just
I was
like,
just about to ask you, like, what is your favorite tea memory, if you can think of it? If you
Wow.
have,
Okay,
or,
you
or
know
a
what?
coffee, or a
Okay.
coffee one.
Wow. Let's see my most immediate favorite tea memory was the morning after my daughter was born.
Oh wow.
And it's specifically because, like, dude, that day, like, I'm gonna say, like, I was in labor, but I wasn't. But nonetheless, I was awake. So we were awake from 8 a.m. the previous day to 1 a.m. the next day, like, on our feet, trying to be as supportive as I could, and understand through how hard my wife was squeezing my hand, how much pain she was currently going through,
Yeah.
and how little the nursing staff was acquiescing to her pain. But shortly thereafter, our daughter was born, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and where our hospital was, it was still in the city, but nothing was open because it's one
Of
o'clock in the
course.
morning. So went over to the Dunkin' Donuts that was a few blocks away. Came back with some hot chocolate for myself
Ooh.
and some coffee for my mother-in-law and a tea for my wife. So she had that tea or a little bit of it, and then obviously we like slept in the little the room, and they brought us breakfast in the morning, and it was a lukewarm cup of hot water
So
and
what?
some generic ass tea bag and one little square of sugar packet. But that was the first cup of tea that I was drinking as a new dad, and it's always gonna stick out to me. So
Wow.
shout out to that horrible tea at the hospital. But yeah, man, it's a significant milestone, for me and my life and our family.
Wow. That's I don't think my only story would be my favorite time, or like my complete moment with tea, because I'm a tea drinker too, not necessarily coffee. Before the storm, so before December 25th in the morning, when we get in at 7, staff gets in at 9. I have a big old quart, literally just like this, of tea to myself, double checking the order, double checking the prep, make sure I'm getting it ready, and just literally I'm like, we're gonna get wrecked today. It's fine. Sip. Is everybody coming in today? Yeah, I think so. Sip. Who are the managers today? Just like slowly freaking out about the day. But then again, as soon as that little bit leaves, you're like, okay, game time. And then you just kind of go.
It's funny that you mentioned that in the quart container, because like that is again that's like a staple of like the New York City takeout Chinese restaurant. Like
Yeah.
just those quart containers in the fridge, and you can get a sweet tea or iced tea
Yeah.
for $1.50, and you just keep it pushing, man. Like tea is always
It's
there, man. Tea is always
tea.
there.
Tea for me is it's a good I mean, I have tea every day, pretty much. Like, this is before I leave the house.
Telling you, man.
This is me.
Soon
This
as we
is me.
wrap this up, I'm going to turn on the tea kettle. You know, I'm going to turn it down a little bit lower so it doesn't whistle too loud because ladies will be sleeping. But I'm going to have my tea and again, think about today and think about our week and what we got planned for the weekend and into the future and try to center myself for all that I'd like to accomplish and not beat myself up too much about what I didn't get to.
Of course. Now, before as we kind of do close, I do want to just do just a couple of things. And Sean, do you want to touch on to a quick Tech Tuesday or no?
Nah,
you don't
man.
have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, not this week. Not this week.
So check this out. I just want to do this one because this is me today.
Okay.
This was literally me today. I had a couple of guests come in and ask about the menu. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. This was my face, Sean. When a customer's joke isn't funny, but you got bills to pay. This is me. This was literally me like 6 hours ago. I'm like, yeah, no, it's great, no, it's funny. Cool, are you gonna order something? Okay, yeah, I'll just tell your server, huh? Yeah, have a nice day. Yeah, I'll be right there. And I bounce, and I literally immediately my face was something like this. I'm like, God, fucking stupid people. Okay, that was a little aggressive, but I was just saying their question was dumb, so they required an even better face for me to kind of not be. Was it judgmental? Is the word I was gonna say? We're professional, so you got to keep a professional face. But yeah, man, that is it. Nothing too intense. I do have a couple of some food things, but I do want to focus on Mother's Day as we're kind of creeping up on it.
Sure.
It's gonna come fast. And then my only news, like specifically bigger news, May 1st we're fully open.
Wow.
Yeah. It's happening,
Let's go.
And I'm freaking out ever so slightly.
Let's go.
Just a little bit. Just
I mean, you got Big Carl there with you. You ready?
This is the first. This is our. We're taking over. Like this is our stuff, but it's so quick. It felt like it was so quick. But yeah, I don't know. Not really butterflies, but kind of like butterflies. Like I'm excited to take on a challenge, and it's not just me this time. Like there's actually another person too. So we're doing it both. And the cool thing is he feels like you. So I feel like you're with me when we're working, but in a Filipino body, and he's much shorter.
Well,
he's
Jollibee's on me.
Oh my good grief. Okay, Sean, would you like to set us out?
Yeah, definitely. So for my outro this week, it's short and sweet. I want to give a big shout out to all of the YouTube content creators out there. Look, man, I know that sometimes your work goes way underappreciated, even though it eventually can be monetized. But hey, man, I see you out there. There have definitely been a few anthology comedy series that I've been following, and it's interesting when like you come across someone's work and immediately you're able to kind of like look back at all of their progression, where they start out with a humble idea and they're able to like stick with it and grow and then find other creatives that can help fully realize their vision. So, this week I want to shout out everyone who's been out there, putting in the work and, providing amazing content. Like, you put it out there, you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know who's going to appreciate it. But I'm saying that I appreciate it and I appreciate you. So, to everyone out there, thank you.
It was it gave you a way out, because you're crazy pandemic. you're viewing something hilarious, or something to
for sure
take your mind off of it.
For me, I mean, as I was looking and transitioning from one career to another, I got my computer open, looking for opportunities, building up new skills, but some reasonable entertainment was like always like a click away. You could just click out, see something, learn something, and then get right back to what you need to do. And it's much appreciated, much appreciated. So I'd say this to everyone who's listening to us: if there are content creators out there that you really enjoy, really reach out to them and thank them if you're so inclined. And I'm gonna segue, to our outro from there. So look, you've been listening to the Chef Salty podcast with Casey and Sean. This podcast can be found on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can find video of these episodes streaming and archived on YouTube at Chef Salty Pork. You can reach out to us at email at AskChefSalty@gmail.com. And you can reach out to me directly on Twitter at MetroCardX. Thank you for rocking with us.
Nothing too crazy. Happy Mother's Day. Now, before, just like last year.
Yeah.
6 weeks away. Okay? Today or tomorrow is when you go find a card.
Dude, look, all right, here's
the next day.
Here's a pro tip. Count your mamas. You probably, look, again, man, I was thinking about it the other day, man, there's more mamas in my life than when I started, which is how it should be. I got my mama, I got my wife, I got my sister, I got my wife's mom. You got mamas. The time is now. Get on it for them. Get on it.
Don't wait till last minute. They know.
They're gonna know, man. The flower's gonna smell like gas.
Nothing too crazy though. Yeah, be safe. Don't touch anybody. Wear a mask, please. Okay?
Yes.
But other than that,
peace out, internet.